Speaking from Tripoli's old city ramparts, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi promised to open weapons depots to arm all Libyan people and tribes to defend the nation against what he called saboteurs, those who have taken control of large parts of the country. Here's some of what he had to say.
The armed people, and when necessary, weapons depot will be opened for all the Libyans to be armed. All the tribe will be armed, so Libya will turn into a burning hell.
Well, strangely seeming to call all Libyans to fight all Libyans in the interests of all Libyans. Well, as Gaddafi clings to power, trying to quash the popular revolt, is he banking on the loyalty of his close circle? Among them, his sons and key security officials, including Abdullah al-Sanusi, the former head of military intelligence. He's thought to serve as chief of staff on security matters. Musa Kusa, foreign minister and former head of foreign intelligence. Brigadier Sayyid Mohammed Gaddafi Dam, Gaddafi's cousin, his brother Ahmed Gaddafi Dam, has recently defected. Well, closer to home, Gaddafi's sons have often been used to represent a more acceptable, modern face of the government over the years, like Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, whose doctoral thesis at the prestigious London School of Economics centered on democratization. He can now be heard characterizing all the protesters as terrorists. Mu'tasim Gaddafi, he serves as national security advisor. There's also Saadi Gaddafi. He played football for Italian giants Juventus, a club his father still owns a 7.5% stake in, and he currently conducts countermeasures against protesters in eastern Libya. And then there's the youngest son, Khamis Gaddafi, who commands an elite squad of special forces dedicated to protect his dad. Well, to know more about Gaddafi's inner circle and to find out what comes next, let's join our three guests. In Paris, Nouri al-Mismari. He's the former head of Gaddafi's protocol. And also here in our Doha studio, Mahmoud al-Shamam. He's a Libyan writer and journalist. And in London, John Hamilton, analyst and director of cross-border information and a Libya analyst. Welcome to the program, all of you. Mahmoud al-Shamam, you saw some of those that we actually mentioned as part of his inner circle. Is there anybody else that we've missed out?
Not really. I think what we call them the men of the tent is around him, most of them. Ahmed Gaddafi Dam defect to Egypt, and a few others are either sick or away. And I think that at the end of it, those people have no choice but dying with him, because I think they are, even some of them are hostages of the situation.
Nouri al-Mismari, do you agree that some of them might be hostages of the situation, that even if they wanted to defect, they couldn't?
Well, to be honest with you, I do agree of what I have heard now, but the only thing that some of them are just resigning lately because they have found out that there is no choice for them only to resign. Why they did not do it from the beginning, from the starting? But at the moment, they didn't know that it will be successful. And now, because it is the end of it, everybody is resigning. This is one. Number two, I don't believe that there are hostages. Either they are in prison or either they are already dead. The only ones are near of him, which I have seen from the speech of yesterday, they are no more nor less that they are really not inner circle, but they are his cousins. Thank you.
Now, I've read reports that since you defected, Muammar Gaddafi has come after your family members. Is that true?
Yeah, well, I don't want to speak too much about it because really, as you know, it's a very delicate case for them now, and I don't want to put them in risk more. But at the end, if they will be touched or anything happens to them, they are not better than the Libyans, which they are losing their lives day by day, day after day. And the only thing I am really sorry, and I have a sorrow, that there are children. Imagine a 6-month baby, 6-month baby dies with a bullet. What for? He's a member of Bin Laden organization? Is he a drug addict? Come on. As Mr. Shagam said, to drug 4 or 3 million Libyans, you need mountains of drugs. Well, but this is only ambition to be and stay in power. You don't say to your people, who loves me can dance and play and go around, and who doesn't love me deserves not to live, should die.
John Hamilton, how would you quantify the amount of backing that Gaddafi actually has now and the amount of people that might be loyal to their last breaths to him?
Well, I think for some of the key individuals that you mentioned at the beginning, the question isn't so much perhaps whether they are hostages of Gaddafi now. I think they're hostages of the things which they have done in the name of the regime over the past decades. If you take Abdullah Sanusi, for instance, he has a conviction against him in Paris. If he is ever captured, he will go straight to jail in France because he was convicted of the bombing of that aircraft which was bombed over Niger. I think Moussa Koussa would be a person who the British police might want to interview about the murder of PC Yvonne Fletcher. I think you could probably go on looking at these sorts of things which have happened in the past, and for the people who were around Gaddafi at the time, who are still around him, if they are there, if they're not dead or in whatever's happened to them inside the regime, they've got no choice. Their destinies are fixed to Gaddafi's.
Mahmoud al-Shamam, with regards to the inverse of that, of those who have actually defected, isn't there an argument that some people might have realized that they don't want to be on the wrong side of history, but also in a very practical sense, if there's a war crimes tribunal, if Gaddafi goes to the International Criminal Court, etc., with regards to possible crimes from the past, they don't want to be implicated, so they're saving themselves now by defecting. Is that a valid argument?
To some extent, yes, but we have to realize a very important thing. The demonstrators swiftly and quickly managed to move what I call it in some other outlets, that in 3 days 1,600,000 kilometers was liberated, and this is make it very hard to anybody not to realize that. And I believe this is very important to look to the character of this revolution. This revolution led and managed by people in Libya that most of them never been outside Libya, and they managed to have and there was no single reporter from any international outlet, media organization or TVs or anything, and they managed to do what we call it the citizen media. They were able to send pictures, to send videos, to send information, and there is no internet, no Facebook, no Twitter. So those people are very organized. People think that this is a chaos, this is a revolution in the streets and people running here and there. No, they control their areas. They control huge areas from Libya, and they control it efficiently. There is no violence in that area. When they capture everything, everybody joined the revolution, was part of the revolution. This is a very civilized movement, though the casualties are high. The Gaddafi forces used a very heavy weapons, and it was a butcher. They are butchers more than anything else. So people start to join.
Mr. Shamam, Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam, has been on his own media offensive at the moment, and he's invited certain handpicked journalists to give his version of events, and he says categorically that they conducted no airstrikes against the Libyan people. What do you think of that?
They were for the last 4 days working day and night to clean areas, to look Tripoli looks like a normal city, and we warn against it. We warn the media, and we help them to come from the eastern part, from Saloum, and they come starting from the eastern part. We know that there is public relations of firms in Europe, especially in Italy. They paid a lot of money, but last night Reuters was reporting from Libya that demonstrators inside Tripoli are controlling some of the Tripoli. So we know that Tripoli is very tough. We know that he has the power, he has the money, but the PR media will not change the image that everybody see in the world. People are revolt, and Muammar al-Gaddafi days are numbered.
Okay. Nouri al-Mismari, what is the likelihood that Muammar al-Gaddafi might be assassinated by someone close to him?
Well, first of all, I would just, with my respect to Sir Hamilton and Mr. Shammam, there are no loyalty around him. It's a force majeure. What I mean with that the people who are around, it's a matter of survival. If he falls down, they will be judged for their crime or what they have done. So this is an obligation for them to stay around him so they can survive.
But was that why you were close to him for 40 years? Was it merely survival?
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean people around him now. I mean now, in this moment, around him, it's for survival. Because if he falls down, troubles would happen to them. They will be judged for their crimes, what they have done in the past when we were with him. I was not with him. I am a pure diplomat. And I have nothing to do. I am not even the chief of protocol of Gaddafi. I am the general state protocol chief. No more than that. And I am in charge of the diplomacy in Libya, a relationship with the embassies. And you can refer to those embassies, how I was with them and what was my relation. I wanted to do a best image of my country internationally, no more nor less. I never tried to polish anyone, any people, either him or either anybody from his circle, to polish his face in front of the others or internationally. I polished and gave the image of my country, no more nor less, in a civilized way. So I never been around with him. I had to do my job internationally, even with him. I never followed him in his